Merry Christmas and welcome to the Movies to Watch Before You Die podcast. My name is Gab and I am here with my cousin and co-host.
Dylan, what up, you ho-ho-hos?
You stole my joke. I was going to use that.
Wait, really?
Something like that. Yeah, that's okay. Great minds. Well, today we are here to talk about one of the greatest Christmas movies of all time. Undoubtedly my favorite Christmas movie. It is a classic. It is quotable. It is hilarious. Makes me laugh out loud every time. And that is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Dill, this was the first time you had ever seen this, which is sacrilege.
Oh, was I supposed to respond to that? I thought you were going to keep going on your little rant about it.
Defend yourself.
To be honest, I'm going through my own thing over here because I just bought new headphones and I feel like it's going to sound really weird to you. For the past 68, 69 episodes or whatever the number is by this point, every time we were recording, I could only hear you in my right ear because I just was so attached to these headphones that I was like, I've had them for a long time. And finally, they were like dangling, like there was exposed wiring, and I was like, probably time. And now I hear you in both ears. And I was just stopping, and I was like, wow, I hear her so much.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is this a good thing or a bad thing?
It's good for the listener, bad for me. I have to hear so much more of you now.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Do you want? Should I whisper?
No, that's worse. I don't like it.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, don't avoid the problematic nature of this episode. This was your first time seeing Christmas Vacation. I don't know how you escaped it.
Well, a couple months ago was my first time seeing Vacation as well.
Yeah, but that I feel like is a little bit more like they don't play that on TV every year for months the way they do Christmas Vacation.
I feel like I've never noticed this playing on TV before. I feel like the one I notice every year is A Christmas Story. That gets played on TV every year on like TBS, USA, TNT are playing it for like 48 hours straight. Like,
yeah, 24 hours straight on TBS.
I think it's all of them. I think it's every channel. I think PBS has it. I think NPR is doing it on radio.
Yeah. They've got it on a E and but all the
the only thing I knew about this movie, literally the only thing I'd ever seen was the bonus rant. I had seen that before. That's the only clip I've ever seen from this movie. Which I did find out some fun. I feel like I found a lot of fun facts for this movie, which obviously we'll get to later. But there's a lot of fun facts to be had.
I can't wait. All right, Dill. Well, before we really dive into anything major, why don't you tell the people what this movie is about?
What's this all been about? What am I working toward?
You think you know everything about me, don't you?
I dive at your bottom. I bloody well ought to.
I think I've got a very condensed version of this. So, Clark Griswold is trying to have the perfect Christmas for his family, and there is no vacation this time.
Well, that's not true because Christmas Vacation, nobody had to go to school or work.
They don't go on a trip anywhere.
Yeah, but people do come to them. Okay. If we're really going to split hairs about this, I guess.
Also, he's still working.
Thank you for listening to the Movies Watch Before You Die podcast.
I just thought it was funny that there's no vacation in this one.
I guess. I don't know. I think that's ridiculous. You didn't celebrate Christmas Vacation every year when you didn't have to go to school for a month?
Well, first of all, I think it's for like a week, not for a month. Okay,
well, in college, it's a month.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the last time I was in school. Anyway, you're a pain in the ass and you're really ruining the joy of this. A tagline or two, perhaps?
Oh, well, first I should give you the IMDb plot summary.
Oh, please, yeah.
The Griswold family's plans for a big family Christmas predictably turn into a big disaster.
Love it.
Concise.
Love it. Yeah, it's great. Now how about a tagline?
Better than mine. I got some taglines for you. Now that you survived the holidays, you deserve a vacation.
Love it.
I think it's okay. It implies being after Christmas.
Shut up.
Okay. Have a perfect New Year.
I get it.
I should have gone more Eartha Kitt on that. Have a perfect New Year.
Yeah, I get it. I don't need it.
And this one, it's spelled like Yule log. You'll crack up.
Okay.
I kind of like that.
I think the
like
first
the
one
pun.
is the best. Yeah, it's fine.
There's no place like home for a holiday.
Okay, that's good too.
Yeah, none of these are. The cat one's probably not that good, but none of these are the worst.
Yeah, the cat one is just so specific to like one joke in the movie.
Yeah, one joke which I thought was fine.
Yeah, it's not like the one that does it for me.
Yeah, that doesn't stand out to me amongst everything.
Yeah. Although, well, we'll talk about it later. Um, okay, and I mean, my I would venture to say that everybody has seen this and kind of knows what it's about, but I guess I'll give the longer, more spoily version.
Yes, obviously spoilers ahead. We spoil everything in this show, so I hope you're
Yeah.
prepared for that.
Yeah, yeah. So essentially, Clark Griswold, as you said, wants to give his family the perfect Christmas. He wants to have his parents come, his wife's parents come. Everybody stays at the house. They're there for probably about 5 to 6 days, I think. People traveling in from all over. They're going to decorate the house. They're going to get a perfect tree. They're going to have a perfect meal. And of course, none of it happens the way that it is meant to. We have annoying in-laws. We have people staying in bedrooms, right? No one gets a hotel. They're all staying at the house. So it's crammed. There's a lot of people. The decorating of the house goes wrong. The tree goes wrong. There is uh, old senile people. There is the fiasco of cousin Eddie just showing up in his RV with his wife and his 2 children and their dog. And of course, the biggest sort of wrongdoing here is that Clark intends on using his Christmas bonus to buy his family an in-ground swimming pool, which of course in the 80s was a tremendous luxury. That was not a common thing, and it was very expensive. And so come to find he put down a deposit on the pool that with a check that would bounce if it were cashed in preparation for the bonus check to come in and cover it. And eventually the bonus comes at the very last minute, and it is a subscription to the Jelly of the Month Club. So Clark, in front of his entire family, who has been driving him crazy, loses his absolute ever-loving mind, freaks out, says that all he wants for Christmas is his boss there so he can tell him what a piece of shit he is. And Cousin Eddie takes it seriously, brings the boss to the home. Now they have a hostage situation, and hilarity ensues.
Yeah, cousin Eddie, kind of a real one in this. Although he does simultaneously the worst and the best thing. Well, this is sort of getting into opinion, but I'll very briefly go ahead. Worst, the poppin'. Nobody likes a poppin'.
Yeah. Oh, no. Announce yourself.
Never just show up. I'll never forget in like 9th or 10th grade. It was a Saturday and 2 of my friends just showed up and I was literally like still in my underpants on the couch. I was like, the fuck are you doing here? Get out. Like, I was like,
oh my
you
God.
leave this place and never return. But then he also like Clark says this, he wants this man kidnapped. I'm doing it. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, and especially because Eddie doesn't have any money and he couldn't give his kids a Christmas. So Clark paid for the kids to have Christmas presents, and Eddie so desperately wanted to make it up to him. And there's a very funny joke where they're at the store and Eddie is going over all the gifts he needs to buy. I want to buy this for my wife. I want to buy this for my daughter, this for my son, and I'd like to buy something for you. Like Clark is going to spend his own money buying himself a gift from Eddie.
Yes,
so,
not only does he want to buy something for Clark, he goes, make it nice.
make it nice. Right. So it is his way of thanking him, which is amazing. But anyway, I think this is probably a really good time to go to opinion time.
It sure is.
In this critic's opinion,
that's just like your opinion, man.
Well, I have a right to my opinion, and my opinion is you have no right to your opinion.
I have seen this movie well over 100 times. Like, it is a Christmas staple in my life. Every year, multiple times. We watched it in high school as part of the week before Christmas, we don't have anything to do in English class. Watched it with friends, watched it with family. It never fails to make me laugh out loud. There are so many perfect and relatable moments. Off the top of my head, the Aunt Edna scene, where Aunt Edna is like Clark's great aunt or his wife's great aunt or something, and she's like 100 years old, and she comes with her husband, and she is just as senile as they get, and every word that comes out of her mouth is hilarious. She says things like, is Russ still in the Navy? And this house is bigger than your old house. Don't throw me down, Clark.
You stop right there. Aunt Edna is my favorite character in this movie.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Because Aunt Edna so much reminds me of my grandma.
Yes.
Because grandma, like, when we used to have the dogs in the house, she would go, "They're gonna knock me down," and I was just immediately taken back to that. Or she'll say like, "Oh, you gotta hold on to me." Like she just like that. She is Aunt Edna to a T.
Yes.
Like she says
I
that same.
love riding in cars.
I'll never forget. I don't think I mentioned it on the podcast before. We were coming back from this is my college graduation, and we're in bumper to bumper traffic. Have I mentioned this before?
No.
We're at a goddamn standstill, and I like it's 90 degrees out. She was wearing a sweater because she was still cold,
Yeah.
and she like, I'm just trying not to lose my mind. And she
Are
goes,
you driving?
"Yes."
Who's in the car?
It's just me, Giselle, and my grandma because we took
Okay.
multiple cars. And she goes, "So, Dylan, do you prefer the traffic or do you prefer when it's moving?" And I turned back like in my mind, you could see me going, "What kind of fucking question is that?" And Giselle had to look at me and be like, "Don't do it. Don't do it." I was like, "Oh." But for a second, I was like so angry about the traffic that I was like, "How can you ask me that?"
Oh my God, that is Aunt Edna. It's so good.
So Aunt Edna.
I love my favorite line from Aunt Edna. They want Aunt Edna to say grace because it is her I think they say it's like her 93rd Christmas or something like that.
I think they're saying her 90th specifically or something like that.
Maybe.
Or maybe it's her 80th.
No, it was definitely like in the 90s for sure. And she says that, first of all, she can't hear them. And her husband, Uncle Louis, is pointing at his mouth, going, "The blessing. They want you to say the blessing." Because at first, when she hears Grace, she goes, "Grace, she died 30 years ago."
Which is another my grandma thinks so much. I'll never forget. I have to go to one more grandma thing real quick.
Please.
Me and Giselle are looking at a fucking picture frame on my grandma's wall, and she comes over and she's looking at it with us, and she just starts pointing. This picture frame has like 10 different pictures in it of different people, and she just starts going, "Dead, dead, 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 dead." And I was like, "Oh my God, what are you doing, Grandma?" She was just like, "All dead," and she goes, "Good, can you help me update my contacts in my cell phone?" And I go, "Sure." She goes, "Yeah, I got to get rid of the dead people."
Oh my God. Oh boy.
Okay, so Aunt Edna's talking about saying grace.
So Aunt Edna finally understands they're not talking about Grace who died 30 years ago. They want her to say the blessing. So everybody puts their hands together and their head down, and it's a very beautiful moment. And she goes, "I pledge allegiance to the flag," and they just follow. And Uncle Eddie stands up and takes his hat off and puts his hand over his heart, and they finish the Pledge of Allegiance. And that line has struck me and stayed with me so much that now there are times when I'm coaching classes and I'll be like, "All right, everybody, we're going to do this. Da, 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 right? All right, cool. God bless America. Let's go." Because I always think of Aunt Edna saying grace as the Pledge of Allegiance. It is I crack up every time.
Aunt Edna was definitely the standout character of the movie for me.
Mm-hmm.
I will also say I feel like the movie explicitly doesn't want you to, but I found Snots so fucking cute.
Oh, I know.
The
I
first
know.
time
Me
he sees
too.
this, and I was like, "Oh, look at that big boy covered in mucus."
It's so true. He's so cute. Aunt Edna also, just to kind of reference back to the cat joke, she wrapped up her cat as a gift, and the cat is rattling around in the box, which I think Chevy Chase does such a good job holding the box when the cat is inside.
I think so. I mean, you can definitely tell it's just him shaking the box around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think it's funny. It works.
Yeah.
It works. And eventually the cat gets electrocuted by the Christmas tree and like, I don't know, like disintegrates.
Yeah, there's just a black hole of where the cat was. So yeah, I think the cat's gone.
Yeah, it's a funny moment. All right, I want to kind of like go through this as best we can because I admittedly there are definitely some scenes that sort of are unnecessary, and I want to talk about that. So let's start. The movie starts with them going to buy their family Christmas tree, and Clark having an incident of road rage with a trucker, getting stuck underneath the truck, flying off the road. Kind of classic, like Griswold in a car traveling somewhere having an issue. How did you feel about that scene? Like it, hate it?
For the most part, it it wouldn't have stood out to me, and it was kind of similar to the first Vacation and just like having the road rage type moment.
Hmm.
But what makes it work is what is an undeniably incredible stunt of,
Yeah.
they obviously would have found a different way, a simpler way to do it if you made that movie today. The fact that I could tell that there is a car being driven underneath like an 18-wheeler sized car, and
Yeah.
they're just actually doing that, I'm like, oh my God, somebody could have died for Christmas
Yeah.
Vacation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
And
amazing. It's unbelievable.
oh, it's unbelievable because we see the car literally move under there and then they're just driving perfectly in sync. And,
Hmm.
you know, I
And it's a
think,
station wagon. Like it's
yes,
not like we're not talking about a Porsche here.
there's something so impressive about stunt work. And if it's done well, it's one of those things that you aren't thinking about it. You're just so wrapped up in the movie.
Yeah.
And I think it was just done so well and stood out so much in this movie where there's not a lot of like stunt work going on that I was
Yeah.
like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
Like, this is incredible because I'm just imagining if that guy in the truck brakes a little hard, the person in that car is dead.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a really cool scene. And I'm happy that they left it in. Of course, I do think it's remnant of, what this franchise is about and sort of classic Clark Griswold. It's a
Yeah.
callback to the original Vacation. So I think it stays and it's perfect. It sets us up. But I just think like I love them singing in the car together, singing Christmas carols. I love the kids in the back not giving a shit. Let's talk about the kids. We've got Johnny Galecki and Juliette Lewis.
Yeah, and I do feel like even more so in this movie than in the first Vacation is this Clark's movie. Like,
Yeah.
they're much more of side characters this time. I feel like
Yeah.
especially Russ disappears for long periods of time.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I in all four of the Vacation movies, the original Vacation movies, the kids are played by different actors, which I think is hilarious because they are completely different. They don't look alike, they don't act alike, they are not similar in nature, and I think it is so funny that they do that. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a bit odd, I guess, but it makes sense because I guess they're just trying to not have them be suddenly college aged or whatever. But
Right.
I think the siblings switched ages this time, didn't they? I think the brother was older in the first one, and now the sister was older.
I don't remember. That's a good one. I'm not sure.
Maybe I'm wrong. Again, it's not a major thing because I'm not
Yeah.
looking to the
It's
Vacation movies for a heavy sense of continuity to be like,
yeah.
oh, how could they change this? My
And
childhood.
I also think that's like the point. You know what I mean? Like it's like a gag almost. Because in
I don't know if it
European
is.
Vacation, Audrey is like really, really fat.
Is that like a big joke in the movie?
Yeah, and she gets fatter and fatter because she just eats her way through Europe. It's very funny.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
And it's a very random question related to this movie, but
Okay.
you had Christmas lights on your house.
Mhm.
How do people put Christmas lights up?
Not with staples.
Thank you, because that was a
Yeah.
major question for me. He's like going hard with a staple gun, and I was like, is that how people do this? Are
Well,
people
I'll
just
say
stapling their
this.
roofs?
I don't know if that's how they did it in the 80s, but I know growing up, like my dad, they made these little hooks that you would like hook the light to the gutter. They were like plastic hooks. But like I don't know if that was like a recent invention that in the 80s it like was normal to staple. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think we had hooks before the 80s.
Perhaps. I don't know. I mean, we are talking about, you know, the late 1900s still.
That's true.
So
Many
it could go
moons
either way.
ago.
So after that scene, we go back home and of course we do have to talk about the Christmas lights on the house. So Clark is dead set on having this beautiful home that is illuminated. He is using, I mean, it's got to be like 10,000 bulbs. Like the
I think he says
entire
like
house is just
20,000 at
covered.
some point.
Yeah, it's covered. And he goes to turn it on and they have this whole family moment. The whole family comes outside. You got the in-laws are out there. Everybody's standing. There's a big drum roll and he plugs it in and it doesn't turn on. And he is flabbergasted.
Yeah, you know what this movie did better than Vacation to me?
What?
You have some very sweet moments, and this was one of them. The first time he tries to bring everyone out to do it and he fails, I think you have what's the wife's name? Ellen. Ellen's
Mhm.
parents, kind of shit on him, but then
Unimpressed by
everyone
him, yeah.
else could not have a sweeter response.
Yeah.
Clark's mom is like, I can picture them in my mind, which like, it's a bit funny, but it's also like, that's so nice though. And like
Yeah.
everyone is like, very sincerely, thank you for trying, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I very much appreciated that there are moments where things aren't a joke, and it was like it took a beat to be serious about Clark being disappointed at his failure and showing them still love him, and like that's a sweet thing, and that's like, you know, that's what the holidays are all about, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, you were about to say something. Go ahead.
No. I have so many more things to talk about. I'm so excited.
Okay, I will say this movie also made me think of your family for another reason. It made me think of my aunt and uncle, your mom and dad, who used to like host a huge Thanksgiving every year.
Huge.
And this was just a 1 day thing. And I thought to myself, God, that sounds awful. It seems
Yeah.
like so much work and it seems awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this was like 5 to 7 days of that.
Yes, and Clark is dead set on doing it, but at the same time, once they get there, he's like, "I'll be outside." Like,
Yeah, he's over it. He goes to work and shit too. He's like, all right, have fun. Um, Now there's another fabulous scene that sticks out to me that I always quote toward the beginning of this movie, which is when we're introduced to the Griswolds' neighbors, Todd and Margot.
Mhm.
Now, Todd and Margot are a younger couple. They don't have children. They live next door, and they are very much like not traditional. They don't really celebrate Christmas. They don't have a Christmas tree. They think the Griswolds are lame. They think Clark is so weird and annoying, and they're not necessarily wrong, but they're definitely like not your traditional family.
They're
And
yuppies.
they're yuppies. Yeah, thank you. And there's a scene where Clark, who, when they went to get their Christmas tree, they didn't have an axe or like a saw to chop it down. So they basically had to like uproot it from the ground. And it's this giant tree. It's way too big for their home. So Clark takes it outside with the chainsaw to trim it and to get the roots off of the bottom. And the neighbors are outside, and Todd says to Clark, "Where are you going to put a tree like that?" And Clark says to him, "Bend over and I'll show you." And then Todd goes, "You can't talk to me like that." And his wife, Margot, is standing next to him. And Clark goes, "I wasn't talking to you." And
I
it
feel
is
like I
so
find it
good.
funny. It was funny in the actual movie, but I just wanted to not laugh so hard as you're just explaining the joke to me.
It's funny.
It is funny. Although
It's
I
so
will
funny.
say, once I finished the movie, I was like, you don't really need Todd and Margot in this movie at all.
No, but there is. So, first of all, "Bend over and I'll show you" is one of my absolute favorite lines. But my second favorite line from this movie, I think, out of all of them, is a Todd and Margot moment where they come in for a run, and Margot goes, "Why is the carpet all wet, Todd?" And he goes, "I don't know, Margot." And I, there is just, I think at least 6 to 7 times a year, I either say, "Why is the carpet all wet, Todd?" But more likely I go, "I don't know, Margot." And it is so for some reason, it just like, that's my line.
I'm just imagining poor Corey having to hear, "I don't know, Corey." I'm just like, in an actual moment of anger, being like, "Fuck you."
Well, what do you prefer, Dylan? The traffic or when you're moving?
I gotta tell you, that was the closest I was almost having a mental breakdown, a mentee bee.
A menti bee, melty on the belty, perhaps. Um, God. And then there's another scene that I think is really unnecessary, which is when Clark is locked in the attic. And that's one that I think if you cut from this movie, I wouldn't miss.
I I sort of see what you're saying, but first of all, that has a really funny joke in it, which is he's hiding these gifts in the attic, and he checks his hiding spot and sees from the year of the first vacation movie, Happy Mother's Day 1983, a gift still wrapped. And you know what? That's pretty fucking funny.
Yeah.
You have him stepping on the floorboards, which is also pretty funny, but maybe that's
Yeah.
just because it reminds me so much of there's a Simpsons episode where Sideshow Bob is stepping on rakes and there are
Oh,
rakes
yeah.
all around him, and it made me think of that. But
Yeah.
you also get another really sweet moment of Clark is locked in the attic while everyone's gone, and he finds a projector in home movies, and he's watching all of these home movies of Christmas. And it does feel like it speaks to why Clark does care about this.
Yeah.
And I think that's important because it's also nice because you get to see Chevy Chase try and do something besides just funny, funny, funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which it feels
I'll
like
give
I'm
you
doing a
that.
lot of complaint about comedy in my in this
Yeah.
comedy.
It's
But I
just too funny.
yeah, I just want moments where it's like, oh, the story does matter a little bit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it
It
does
is
feel pretty
nice.
grounded.
Yes. I agree. And it does sort of bring you back to this understanding of why Clark isn't just like, get the fuck out of my house, forget it.
Yeah, and it makes it more relatable. That's why there's also a third moment later in the movie where it's Clark and his dad, and he's like talking to his dad about, how'd you do it type of thing, because he's like, I've messed this Christmas up, and he's, the dad relatably says like, it was hard for me every year too. Plus, a bottle of booze helped me. And, he has his dad passes the torch of who will read what's the Christmas poem?
'Twas the Night Before Christmas.
'Twas the Night Before Christmas. I'm so used to 'Twas the Night Before Hanukkah.
Of course.
But yeah, it's a very nice passing of the torch moment for Clark to be able to, he is the man of the family now, running running the holiday.
Yeah. Of course, we have Cousin Eddie. Some of Cousin Eddie's best lines come from this movie, such as, "You remember that metal plate in my head, Clark? Well, they had to replace it with plastic. The only thing between my head and the ground is a piece of government plastic."
A line that stood out for Cousin Eddie to me that I was like, the fuck does that mean? Don't forget the rubber sheets and the gerbils. I was like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
that feels more like current Randy Quaid than Cousin Eddie.
Honestly, I also like the line. He says that they needed to take out the metal plate in his head and replace it with plastic because every time Catherine fired up the microwave, I'd piss my pants and forget who I was for about 30 minutes or so.
That was another really good stunt, though. You mentioned it briefly, the sledding, because there's somebody actually on a sled just like going way too fast. And you can see when it switches back to Chevy Chase on like what's got to be, green screen or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's just like sort of wiggling around. And then you just see somebody who's being launched and you're like, there's a person there. There's a person there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. God, what else in this movie? I mean, it's just so good. Aunt Edna is fabulous. There is I guess the last thing to talk about really, because we discussed Uncle Eddie wanting him to buy Christmas presents. I do love the moment between Clark and Ruby Sue, where Ruby Sue is explaining that she doesn't think Santa is real because he doesn't come to their house because obviously they don't have any money.
I was just about to bring that up because it's another sweet and funny moment.
Yeah.
It comes from a not sweet place where he's imagining everybody in the pool and he's imagining like his whole family using the pool together, and that's sweet.
Yeah.
Then it's just him imagining the woman from the department store, and you're like, Clark, what's the matter with you?
Yeah. Clark is a dog. Like they don't try to hide that part. He is who he is, but I feel like that was like a stereotypical way of describing like family men, right? Like, because every family man is still kind of a dog at heart. That was like a very classic trope in the 80s.
Well, that definitely does feel like what Clark Griswold is about. And that Ruby Sue scene it becomes very sweet when she's asking about Santa Claus and he's explaining that Santa comes to their house every year and being very sweet to convince her that she will get a gift. And there's she asks him if he's Santa Claus and he says no. And at the very end of the conversation, it's a line that I loved. She goes, "Uncle Clark, are you sure you ain't Santa Claus?" And he goes, "I'm sure." And as she walks away, he goes, "I can't even afford to be an elf." And I don't know why. I was like, that's funny.
It is sweet. I also like when she says something about shitting bricks and he goes, "You shouldn't say that." And she goes, "Sorry, shitting rocks."
Yeah, I wrote that down too.
It's so good. And I'm trying to think of like what else needs to be mentioned. I think we just got to go to the rant.
And wait, one more thing for Aunt Edna, because we forgot one other line.
Please.
Is your house on fire, Clark? No, Auntie Bethany, those are Christmas lights.
Oh my God, we've been calling her Aunt Edna. It's Aunt Bethany.
Where did we get Aunt Edna from?
Aunt Edna is from Vacation, the original, who dies, and they drop her body off. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Aunt Bethany. God, do we have to redo this whole episode?
No. Everyone else, replace in your mind every time we said Edna with Bethany.
Oh,
I'm just
God.
going to do a Command
listener,
F, search and replace.
For all of you who have no idea what's happening, we've been having a lot of issues. So we actually watched this movie like a week ago. And normally we watch it right before we record, but I had internet issues and Dylan had job issues, and there's just been a lot of issues. Merry Christmas. Life sucks.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
We always say, and I don't know if this is from the movie. Have you ever seen Jack Frost with Michael Keaton?
I've not. I've only seen the horror Jack Frost.
Okay, you would. So essentially in Jack Frost, the husband dies and comes back as the snowman on their front lawn. And the cops like knock on the door to be like, "Hey, your husband's dead." So, and it's Christmas, obviously. So Corey and I always say, "Merry Christmas, your husband's dead." So anyway, Merry Christmas, your husband's dead. So another line that I love from Bethany. Oh, actually, this is from Uncle Lewis. She says, so there's a squirrel in the tree. And it has been unbeknownst to everybody up until this moment. And nope. Bethany goes, "Do you hear that? It's a funny noise." And Lewis looks at her and goes, "You couldn't hear a dump truck drive through a nitroglycerin plant." And I say that all the time.
Okay, but we should get to Clark's rant.
We got to get to the rant. Yeah.
Which is definitely the standout scene of the movie. I'm sorry, you were saying.
So as we explained earlier, Eddie hears that Clark wants his boss to be brought to him with a bow so he can tell him what a foul-mouthed, lily-lipped, like rant. I mean, that rant has to, that I can't imagine how many takes that took.
Well, I may have a fun fact about that rant.
Oh, good. Okay. And so Eddie brings the boss to him. Again, it's a kidnapping, like hostage situation. And his boss does find out that, oh, you know what else I loved? I'm so sorry. But when Clark is in his office, so his boss is played by the one and only Brian Doyle-Murray, who I think doesn't get enough credit for being incredible.
And the brother of Bill Murray.
Right, of course. But I would argue
he's in the first Vacation also.
Yeah. He's in, dare I say all of them?
I have no idea.
Brian Doyle-Murray as the boss. Clark brings him a gift and says, "My wife and I just wanted to thank you and give you something." And he goes, "Put it with the others." And Clark puts it down with the others. And all those gifts are the exact same shape. Did you notice that?
Yes, I tried to look up like what it could be. And people like theorize that it's like a pen set, that everybody got him the same pen set.
Yeah. But I never noticed that they were all exactly the same. It really made me laugh. They're all wrapped in different paper, obviously, but they're all like the same L shape.
The very
very funny.
Distinct shape.
Yeah. So Brian Doyle-Murray is brought to his home, and we quickly find out that he didn't know that people didn't get their bonuses, and he realizes that it's fucked up. So he goes, "Whatever you got last year, add 20%. And the whole family celebrates. But that rant scene is iconic. Like, if you remember Chevy Chase for doing anything, I think it has to be this scene. I think this is the apex of his career, is that monologue.
I mean, I definitely wouldn't disagree. I think he's only really known for like 3 things. So I guess this obviously
but SNL, I mean, like he's a world famous, comedian and actor, and he's done so many huge movies, but like his ability to be this level of like angry, indignant, off the handle, but it is what he's known for. But this is him doing it the best. Like there's no better Chevy Chase moment than this.
Chevy Chase's magnum opus.
Yes. And I mean, I couldn't do it justice even if I had it memorized. It's unbelievable. But the best, of course, is the end where he goes, "Holy shit, where's the Tylenol?"
Hallelujah, holy shit, where's the Tylenol?
Yeah. Which there's no better end to a rant. How else do you end a rant like that? It's just perfect. It's perfect.
I also like
no, go ahead.
By the time he has finished his rant, everybody is like noticed that he's freaked out. And Ellen says like, "It could be worse," or something like that. And he goes, "Worse? How can it get any worse? Take a look around you. We're at the threshold of hell."
It's so good. And then Ellen's like, "I think everybody's just gonna go home." And he's like, "Oh no, we're not leaving." When Santa slides his fat ass down that chimney, he's gonna find the happiest bunch of assholes this side of the nut house. We're gonna have this is gonna be the best Christmas since Fred Astaire tap dance with Danny fucking Kaye.
I think you literally just took what I had as I've already written out like what the description will be for the episode, and it's you're gonna listen to this on Christmas Eve when Santa squeezes his fat white ass down the chimney tonight. He's gonna find the jolliest bunch of assholes this side of the nut house.
It's so good. It's so fucking good. Yeah, and I mean that's the end of the movie, right? Like the cops come and the boss's wife shows up, and all is forgiven essentially.
I do like the cops and the wife also being like, "You canceled bonuses, you piece of shit," and like very unrealistically, but it's nice because it's we're seeing Clark sort of win out, but it's so unrealistic watching Brian Doyle-Murray be like, "Perhaps I was wrong." He literally says I guess a healthy bottom line doesn't mean anything if you hurt the people you depend on. And I'm like, what world does this man live in? Because it's not the real world that I live in.
That's true. Dylan is experiencing that 0% this holiday season. But I don't know. I'm so excited to talk about the facts but I feel as though I didn't give you your share of time to talk about your opinion. So please.
I feel like you covered everything I would have covered, and I'm just glad I got to mention the stunts. I think are very impressive. Like if you've never seen Christmas Vacation, you'll be shocked at like the 2 or 3 moments of stunts that you're like, what the fuck? That went hard. It goes far harder than it needs to in some of these moments. And the sweet moments, which I think was a very nice it makes the funnier because I appreciate the stakes of everything more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although I will say I do find it very odd that, you know, all this talk about Ruby Sue and what's his nephew's name? Rocky?
Rocky, yep.
Ruby Sue and Rocky, not having Christmas gifts last year and Clark wanting to make sure that they had Christmas gifts this year. And the movie's called Christmas Vacation. We never see Christmas. We never get there. The movie ends on Christmas Eve. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I needed like an epilogue where I have them opening presents. You know what I mean?
Oh, no, you don't need it. It's so
I need it. And like maybe it would have been funny if like the kids teamed up and got Clark a Jelly of the Month Club subscription too. Like just something like that. Like I needed something where the kids open up their gifts. I don't know. I was very shocked that it was like, oh, it's over. Christmas Vacation has no Christmas.
Yeah.
Technically, the title is a lie. There's no Christmas. There's no vacation.
You're a pain in the ass. Cool. Shall we get to? So, how did you laugh out loud?
Once or twice. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
That's all I need to know. Facts.
I want the truth.
Face the facts, ducks.
Facts have no place with an organized religion.
Let's start with our ratings. Let me definitely try and get through these things quickly. So first we have for IMDb gives this a 7.5 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes on the tomato meter, it has a 70%. Average rating of 6.2 out of 10, 38 fresh reviews, and 16 rotten. IMDb gives it a 7.5 out of 10. It had a budget of $28 million. It grossed $74.5 million. I think what's also interesting is in England and some other places, it went straight to home video. It did not get a theatrical release. I thought that was odd.
Yeah.
The critics' consensus, while Christmas Vacation may not be the most disciplined comedy, it's got enough laughs and good cheer to make for a solid seasonal treat. Let's see here. Reviews, Roger Ebert gave it 2 stars. Sequence after sequence seems to contain all the necessary material to be well on the way toward a payoff, and then it somehow doesn't work.
Disagree. Hard disagree.
James Berardinelli from Real Views, one of the great unanswered questions in Hollywood is how Chevy Chase still gets work. And I was like, damn.
Wow, yikes. But that's not fair because now you're approaching that from today's standpoint. Like, review the movie.
Yeah, it's a zinger, though. He zinged him.
Yeah, but for what reason? What did Chevy Chase run over your grandma? Like, enough.
It was interesting. This one just said from the Hollywood Reporter staff. In National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Chevy Chase's family Christmas tree is a little full with a lot of sap, much like this movie, but it's a big-hearted fullness and it's a smoothly stirred sap. Which we didn't talk about. That's one of my favorite scenes. It's him with the sap still all over his hands and everything he touches is sticking.
Yeah, it's great.
I did see something that was like, well, how did he get his pajamas on? And I was like, oh, fuck off. Just ruin every joke. Why don't?
Yeah. Let there be comedy, please.
And last thing, William Thomas from Empire Magazine. If it doesn't make you at least giggle, then you clearly don't understand the true meaning of the festive season.
Amen.
Let's see here. It was directed by Jeremiah S. Chechik, who also directed The Avengers, not the one you're thinking of, the one from 1998. Benny and June, and 3 episodes of Gossip Girl.
Huh.
It was written by John Hughes, who also wrote The Breakfast Club, Home Alone 1 through 3. And we talked about it recently, that Mara Wilson Miracle on 34th Street remake that she was in.
And also regular Vacation?
Yes. I mean, he's written a lot of things. I feel like I mentioned him before on Vacation when we talked about that, but...
Yeah. Also Ghostbusters. He didn't write, but he was a star of.
John Hughes?
Oh, sorry. Harold Ramis in my mind.
Yes, you are although Harold Ramis directed the first Vacation.
Right, but he didn't direct this one.
No. Which apparently Chevy Chase wanted him to return, but Harold Ramis was busy with Ghostbusters 2.
Okay.
So the movie stars Chevy Chase as Clark, who you may know from Caddyshack, Community, or Three Amigos. Beverly D'Angelo as Ellen, who you may know from American History X, Violent Night, and Trading Hearts. Juliette Lewis as Audrey, who you may know from Cape Fear, Natural Born Killers, and Yellow Jackets. Johnny Galecki as Russ, who you may know from Roseanne, The Big Bang Theory, and Bookies. John Randolph as Clark's father, who you may know from You Got Mail. He was Tom Hanks' dad.
Yep.
And Serpico, Diane Ladd as Clark's mom, who you may know from Chinatown and The Rebel Rousers. I'm just keeping mentioning these because all of these older people, I was like, I know each of you from something.
Yeah.
E.G. Marshall as Ellen's father, who you may know from 12 Angry Men, and also as Upson Pratt in the story They're Creeping Up on You from the movie Creepshow, which is very good. Doris Roberts as Ellen's mother, who you may know from Grandma's Boy, or more likely as the mom from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yep, she's great.
Randy Quaid as Cousin Eddie, who you may know from Independence Day and Kingpin. Mae Questel as Aunt Bethany, who you may know as the voice of Betty Boop and Olive Oyl.
Oh my God.
Which just speaks to, one, how old she is, but two, I was like, God, her voice sounds familiar because it's fucking Betty Boop.
Yeah.
And the last one I had is Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Margot, who you may know from Veep or from Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you
All right.
pleasantly surprised to see her?
I was surprised to see her because this has got to be like her first big thing, I feel like, or one of. Also, I was just surprised how, like, what a cast this movie has.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I think I know every single person in this movie from something.
Yes.
All right, let me get to some funner facts. Chris. Oh, wait, first, the thing about the rant. I didn't say the thing about the rant.
Yeah. Rant,
So,
rant.
You got to be thinking, how does he memorize that whole monologue, right? It's so impressive.
Mm-hmm. It's a tongue twister.
During Clark's rant, the whole family is wearing cue cards that say different insults on them. So you'll notice if you rewatch the scene, he is looking back and forth in different people because they each have something written on their chest on a cue card.
Wow.
So that he could nail it because he couldn't memorize the whole thing.
I mean, it is like, Dylan, do me a favor. If you have a minute, could you just put the clip, like an audio clip of the rant somewhere in this episode, like not at the end, just somewhere so that people can hear it, like maybe when we were talking about it, because you can't describe it. Like it has to be heard from the horse's mouth.
Well, I guess I have to put it here right now, but you son of a bitch.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I want to look him straight in the eye, and I want to tell him what a cheap, lying, no good, rotten, four-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood-sucking, dog-kissing, brainless, dickless, hopeless, heartless, fat-ass, bug-eyed, stiff-legged, spotty-lipped, worm-headed sack of monkey shit he is! Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
All right, now that you heard that, I'm going to get to some more fun facts. Thanks for the extra work, Cam.
You're welcome.
Christopher Columbus, who directed Home Alone, was supposed to direct...
Like, who discovered America?
After he discovered America, he directed Home Alone. Nothing in between. He was supposed to direct this, but quit after having 2 meetings with Chevy Chase and not being able to stand him.
Interesting.
Yes, and he loves Christmas, and he was excited to do a Christmas comedy, but because of Chevy Chase, he didn't do this. Then he was lucky enough to hear from John Hughes, who was very understanding, who sent him a script for the movie Home Alone.
Wow, that's very interesting. So now hang on here for a second because I want to dissect this a little bit. So this guy can't stand Chevy Chase. We've all heard the Chevy Chase rumors. Harold Ramis, who is beloved and a true icon of this industry, they loved each other. So really, what's the deal here?
I don't know, but Christopher Columbus is pretty beloved too. He's done a lot of
as much
very
as Harold
successful...
Ramis?
Arguably, yeah. He's done I don't think you realize how successful Christopher Columbus is.
First of all, he
discovered America.
Okay, we hate him. And the statue of him in the park has police around it all the time because people want to vandalize it.
We've taken his day away. It is now Indigenous Peoples Day for a reason.
Right. So fuck him.
No, but he directed the first 2 Harry Potter movies. He directed oh my God, I'm failing right now so hard.
I had no idea.
He's directed so much shit.
Yeah, but was he in Ghostbusters? No.
He was not in He directed Mrs. Doubtfire, Home Alone 1 and 2.
Oh wow, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Adventures
That's a
in
movie to watch
Babysitting.
before you die. Do we need to do that or do you agree?
I think we need to do that. I haven't watched it in a long time. The only thing that I can remember is it was a drive-by fruiting. That's the only thing that stands in my mind.
I love that line. Help is on the way.
Where was I? He's probably just joking, but there's a video of Chevy Chase watching Christmas Vacation with this family on the Who Say YouTube channel, And he says to his daughter, who he's watching with, "This is my favorite part, where my name comes above the actual title, which of course is the definition of a star." And I was like, he seems like a dick.
No, that's a joke and you know it.
The way he said it did feel very jokey, but maybe it was just very dry humor.
Yeah.
Um,
So hold on. I want to revisit this. Why does everybody hate Chevy Chase again?
because they've worked with him and they say he's a dick.
Yeah, but like specifics.
I don't know. I don't have that pulled
Google
up.
it. Look it up.
I don't want to. You Google it.
Fine,
I'm
I
reading
will.
facts.
All right. Keep going.
All right. So everybody knows famously that Viggo Mortensen in Lord of the Rings breaks his toe when he kicks that pile of like whatever it is. But less famously, Chevy Chase broke his pinky while punching the decorations outside, and that's why he just kicks them the rest of the scene because he kept going.
No way.
I did not realize going into this that this is the third Vacation movie because this is after the first and European Vacation, followed by Vegas Vacation and Christmas Vacation 2, Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure.
Oh boy.
Do you got anything about Chevy Chase being a bad guy?
Yeah. His all too dry and sarcastic remarks have more often than not bordered on crude, unnecessary, and just textbook offensive. This, by the way, is from themarysue.com. So I'm actually going to try to find a more... Oh, New York Post. We got this covered. Reddit. I'm not going to...
Like I saw even... I was watching an interview with him and Beverly D'Angelo. That Beverly D'Angelo sort of... I guess she kind of interrupts him, but she's going to say something nice about him. And he's like, I guess I'll just have to come back to that later. Like, I could see it.
Yeah.
I could see it. And there's a reason he's not working as much now because it's historically difficult to work with. Like he's not the worst person in the world. I'm sure he's not doing it. Like it hasn't come out that he was doing something horrible. He's not murdering people. We've talked about much worse people on this podcast, but generally seems like kind of a difficult guy to work with. I get that.
Chevy Chase isn't apologizing for who he is or what anyone thinks of him. CBS This Morning correspondent Jim Axelrod asked Chase about his thoughts when he reads things that might affect his reputation, such as former co-stars on shows like SNL and Community calling him out for bad behavior and saying he's a jerk. I guess you'd have to ask them, Chase responds with a laugh, adding, I don't give a crap. I am who I am, and I like who I am. I don't care, and it's a part of me that I don't care. Oh, and it's part of me that I don't care. And I've thought about it a lot, and I don't know what to tell you, man. I just don't care.
Even that response is a little dicky.
Yeah. While filming the fourth season of Community in 2012, where the actor played a bigot named Pierce Hawthorne, the show paused production after Chase reportedly used the N-word in an argument with showrunner Dan Harmon. In March 2018, former Community star Donald Glover opened up via a profile in The New Yorker about how Chase tried to disrupt his scenes by making racial and insensitive jokes between takes to throw him off. He also found himself the subject of ridicule from SNL star Pete Davidson in 2018, who called Chase a bad racist person on Howard Stern. Davidson's comments came after Chase, who starred on the first two seasons of the iconic sketch comedy show, criticized the current iteration of the NBC show in an interview with the Washington Post. I had to watch a little bit, and I just couldn't fucking believe it, Chase said at the time. That means a whole generation of shitheads laughing at the worst fucking humor in the world. You know what I mean? How could you dare give that generation worse shit than they already have in their lives? It just drives me nuts. He's a fucking douchebag. Fuck Chevy Chase. I hate that dude, Davidson told Stern. He's just a genuinely bad racist person, and I don't like him. Davidson also defended Lorne Michaels, saying Chase's words were being disrespectful to a guy who gave you a career, and that no matter how big you get, you can't forget what that guy did for you. Hold on. Da, 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 da.
I mean, I don't think we need to keep going. It sounds like it's been proven well enough. Like, yeah, he seems like a bit of a dick.
Yeah. All right, I'm done. Anyway, okay, he's a dick.
Let's continue the fun facts now.
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio auditioned for Russ, but casting director, I didn't get her first name, something Levitt, said while there was something special there, he wasn't really goofy enough for the part.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I don't think he's ever really done like a full-on comedy, has he?
Leo?
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like the most
Wolf
comedic
of Wall
thing.
Street?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, I'm thinking of him on Quaaludes trying to get to his car in Wolf of Wall Street. I'm like, that is fucking funny.
Yeah.
Let's see here. When Clark Griswold is reading the People magazine in bed, when it's stuck to his hands with the sap, on the cover of the magazine is Jeremiah S. Chechik, the film's director.
Oh, funny. Wait,
Although
I thought... Oh, that's right. I was like, I thought it was Christopher Columbus, but it wasn't.
No, he hated Chevy Chase too much because he's a bad racist person, according to Pete Davidson.
Yeah.
Okay, I did it. I had to look something up about the stunts. The stunt driving for the scene from Christmas Vacation was all practical. Dick Z-Man Zeiker drove the station wagon underneath the semi, driven by another stunt member, Bob Orison, and kept pace with it as they traveled down the road before flawlessly returning out from under the semi-truck. The timing had to be perfect. Nerves of Steel, the second unit director, Charlie Pissarnell, he was also the stunt coordinator for the scene, was the interior camera operator. The actual camera operator refused to get in the station wagon for this scene, but who could blame him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. We already talked about Brian Doyle-Murray. Former National Lampoon group member Nicholas Guest, who plays Todd, is a brother to Christopher Guest.
Who'd have thunk it? They don't look at all alike.
Not at all.
Crazy.
And apparently there's a deleted post-credit scene, which would have had the blown up Santa sleigh from the sewer explosion, which I feel like out of context sounds crazy, comes crashing into Todd and Margot's bedroom after Todd makes a Santa joke before falling asleep.
That's funny. That's really funny. I do want to say that Clark punching and kicking all the ornaments, the decorations on the lawn also makes me laugh out loud.
All right, Gab, that is all the facts that I have. So should we get to some mail about A Christmas Horror Story?
Mail me your thoughts on it. I'm sorry. I thought that was going to be better.
Yikes. You dredged through sleet, snow, and hail for that?
Yeah, sorry. I'm such a reindeer fucking snow whore.
I'm just glad you said it. Okay.
Yeah.
Mail time!
When you control the mail, you control information.
Mom asked me to ask you if there's any mail for us here by mistake.
What?
All right, we got a couple of comments here. First from Scotty Cameron, who has given us the time code, 1 hour, 47 minutes, and 42 seconds. Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. Thinking of Silent Night, Deadly Night, that movie inspired my favorite Christmas song, Merry Xmas by Ice Nine Kills, which I feel like I've now heard of them. They apparently do a bunch of music videos that are like horror themed.
Okay.
That's about all I got on that one. We got a comment here from Lanola Cola. The word Gab was thinking of was master recording in reference to Taylor Swift getting the original recordings back. We stumbled hard on that, but yes.
We did.
And now for Lanola Cola's question of the week. What was your favorite things from 2023?
Well,
should it be like movie related things?
So I'm going to give two. I'm going to give personal, and then I'm going to give like world. So my personal favorite thing from 2023 was moving into this apartment. Corey and I moved into a beautiful, gigantic apartment that we love and that we have decorated with all neutral tones, that is clean, and I'm just obsessed with where I live. So that's my personal one. And then in the, I guess in like pop culture, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Is your favorite thing of 2023?
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll only be trumped by my favorite thing of 2024, which will be when they get engaged.
Oh, God. They're like my least favorite thing of 2020. Actually, no, I say that like they're taking up a lot of, space in my mind. It's just when it comes up on like Twitter or in a game that I'm watching and I'm like, oh,
shut up. Who cares? They're happy. Leave them alone.
Hey, you know what? The Chiefs are doing bad. I do think it's funny that like the Chiefs aren't doing as well this year and people are like, it's Travis and Taylor's fault. I'm like, really? Are the two of them affecting the 53-man roster?
Yeah, I doubt it.
Whatever.
You know what else I love from 2023? This Stanley Cup. Have you noticed my Stanley Cup?
Did you see the video of the car that caught on fire and the Stanley Cup survived the fire and still had water with ice in it?
No.
Yes, and Stanley, like, the brand used it as advertising and bought the woman a brand new car.
That is, first of all, really nice. A client bought me this, and I didn't originally I have a thing with the reusable bottle where it's like, oh, it gets kind of like moldy smelling and you gotta like wash it and whatever. But my client was like, you would love it, you would love it, you would love it. She bought me one for Christmas, and you know what? God damn it, I love it.
God, I'm still trying to think of my favorite things of 2023. I feel like it's such an interesting question. And I'm like, it's funny because I don't want to say, I'm like, what movies have I seen lately? The only thing that I can think of movie wise is I just literally like 2 or 3 days ago went and saw Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. It definitely wasn't one of my favorite things of 2023. I'll say that. But I mean, it's just like the only movie, like, when somebody asks you something and your brain is like, what are other things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this question does make me think of the Ruben Studdard classic, I'm Sorry for 2004. Do you remember that?
No, I do not
R
remember that.
Really? You don't? Ruben Studdard, you remember him, of course,
Sure.
released a song called I'm Sorry for 2004, and it was released like right around like New Year's 2005, and he was basically like the song was about him apologizing to his woman for being so bad to her in 2004, and it's maybe the worst song I've ever heard.
Okay, fair enough. Um, all right, so I've got two movies that I would say were like my favorites of 2023. I would definitely say Oppenheimer, which did you even see Oppenheimer?
No.
Well, I'd still highly recommend it.
Yeah.
And my favorite, like, it's not the best movie of the year, but one of my favorite movies that I went to the theater for was Evil Dead Rise.
Also
It was
didn't
the
see
rare
that.
theater experience where I also like, I feel like Zach, who we mention somewhat frequently on this podcast, does not watch any movies after the year like 2010. He just
Yeah.
doesn't go anymore. And it was the one movie that like me, him, and Allie went to go see. So that was nice.
That's lovely.
It has also been nice when I have occasionally like made Giselle watch bits and pieces, and she's been terrified to see it.
It's very scary.
I don't think so. One of the things that I'm going to mention on my favorite things of 2023 was it's a set of YouTube videos called The Oldest View, and it's the most scared I've been this year watching something, which
What?
sounds so stupid, but it's like three YouTube videos in total. It's probably about an hour long, and it's by a guy named King Pixels, who I found out is like 19 years old when he made it, which is like, wow, I'm so talentless. It's so impressive that somebody does something like that young. Yeah, he made this though, and it's freaking incredible. I don't want to spoil anything about it. Um, it was funny. Honestly, one of my favorite moments of 2023, although it's gonna make me sound like a dick. I forced Giselle to watch it with me, and she was so terrified that she was holding her eyes shut so tight that I finally noticed at one point, because I was still scared and I had already seen it, that she wasn't reacting at all. And I went, "Hun," and she went, "I was holding my eyes hard. I was holding my eyes shut so hard I fell asleep." So that's one of my favorite
I don't
moments of
understand what's
2023.
scary about it.
Well, I don't want to explain too much about it because I feel like if I explain a lot about it, it'll take some of the fear away. Um, but I think it's very scary in the sense that it sets up things you know and understand and like rules that you commonly see in horror and then breaks those rules. Like
Interesting.
the one example I'll give is, I'm sure you've seen in media something that moves when you're not looking at it, and then once you
Hmm.
look at it, it stops. You know what I'm talking
Hmm.
about? And
Hmm.
it has a moment like that where something is encountered and it's only moving when he's not looking at it, and finally he's looking at it and it just says fucking and starts coming at him, and you're like, oh shit, so he is not safe. This is not safe. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Is it a narrative?
Yes, it's found footage, and it's very well. Now I feel like I should be giving a spoiler alert, but like I guess maybe you should look it up if you're listening to this and this sounds remotely interesting to you, that you like scary things. Look it up before I keep spoiling it.
Okay, well, don't because Corey might want to watch it.
I would highly recommend it. If you type in The Oldest View on YouTube, it'll come up immediately.
Okay. Anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on this. Um, did you ever use one of the virtual reality sets with like the game with like the twins where you're in like a scary room?
No, but I did play on PlayStation VR Resident Evil 7, and it was terrifying.
Okay. This is like I'm talking about a game where you have to get out and like things are coming at you. Like you're basically in. Have you ever seen the episode of Impractical Jokers where they
Yes,
make Sal play the VR and then they put the room around him and he takes his glasses off and
he's
he's
in it.
in.
Yes.
Yeah. That game is really scary.
I, I'm telling you, the first VR thing I ever did, I remember came with the VRs. It had PlayStation Worlds or whatever it was called. And the
Mhm.
very first thing you do is you go down in a shark cage, and then there's a shark chasing you the entire time.
Nope.
I thought that was scary. Then when you're playing Resident Evil 7 in VR, first of all, it's one of the few VR games that I'm like, oh, this still looks fairly realistic. Because a lot of VR games you find that people look like stick figures and shit like that.
Yeah.
But there's a guy, I couldn't make it past like the first level where Resident Evil 7 Yeah, I'd like to briefly explain it. You're kidnapped by this like mutant Southern family. And so the father's just coming after you, going, "Dad is coming to get you." And I swear to God, Gab, it's fucking terrifying. I managed to run into the room where you can save the game, and I was like, I'm not leaving. I'm done. I was like, I'm
Oh
not
my
playing
God.
anymore.
Holy shit.
Comments. Where were we? I've got two more here from Scotty Cameron. 1614. Yes, it was because Megan Fox compared because we brought up, I guess,
Oh yeah, Hitler.
yeah, Megan Fox getting fired. Compared Michael Bay to Hitler. Steven Spielberg saw that interview and showed it to Bay, which resulted in her firing and her character being written out of the third Transformers. Granted, Spielberg denies this, but the other producers claim it's true. One Fox's defenders say she was upset by the fact that Bay consistently wanted to sexualize her in those movies and made her uncomfortable, which led her to compare Bay to Hitler. Which I will say, I did a great job getting past what is definitely an autocorrect on Scotty's part because it says here he constantly wanted to sequelize her, and I'm like, I don't think that's true. Make it Fox 3, Foxier.
Sequelizer. That's really funny.
Bay is, by the way, Jewish. Yes, Bay can be a bit of a dictator on set. I don't know the details of all Fox's endeavors with Bay in the first two movies because I don't really care for Fox. The story I know from those movies of Bay being a bit of a dictator on set involved Peter Cullen, who's the voice of Optimus Prime and recent Emmy Lifetime Achievement Award winner, where he got into an argument with Bay over his lines. Cullen opposed having 90% of Optimus Prime's dialogue being "I'll kill you and we will kill them all," because Cullen knew that it's out of character for Optimus Prime to be a bloodthirsty psycho. However, Bay wanted Prime to say "I'll kill you" every 10 seconds because he thought it would be cool and edgy despite being a total character assassination of Prime. Eventually, Cullen caved and said those lines where Prime threatens to kill everyone in his path. It's part of the reason the Transformers are better now that directors like Travis Knight and Stephen Caple Jr. have taken over because they actually like the source material, unlike Bay. Now, if Paramount removes Lorenzo di Bonaventura from these movies, things will be perfect. I recently went to a local comic shop to pick up new issues of Daniel Warren Johnson's new Transformers comic line and Robert Kirkman and Lorenzo De Felici's new comic Void Rivals, and my friend CJ, who works at the comic shop, sung his praises of those comics. Prompted me to tell him about the story involving Cullen and Bay, about Optimus Prime saying "I'll kill you" all the time, and my friend's reaction was that Cullen has been voicing Optimus since Michael Bay was 12 years old, so Peter Cullen knows more about Prime's characterization than Bay. It came up largely because Daniel Warren Johnson's Transformers comic places emphasis on how compassionate of a character Optimus Prime is and repudiates the war criminal depiction from the Bay films.
So, if Hitler doesn't exist, who's your favorite dictator?
No, I will not. I will not answer who my favorite dictator is. Who's the most evil dictator? Like, is that your question?
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
I'm not picking faves. They're not baseball cards that I'm trading you, guys.
Yeah. But let me ask you this. Mussolini, what did he do again?
What do you mean?
What did he do? Like, what was his issue?
He ruled over Italy and starved his people.
Oh, he starved them?
I mean, generally, none of these guys are good guys, and generally, all of them killed a lot of their own people and starved a lot of them.
Now, Fidel Castro, we named castration after.
Is that true?
I don't know, but
I don't feel like that's true.
I think, yeah, you're looking it up.
I don't think that this is true. Yeah, I think the word existed long before Fidel Castro.
Oh, then who did we castrate and name something after, or who did we?
What?
Did it? Oh, God, somebody's going to hear this and know what I'm talking about. Didn't we strap somebody to a horse?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Are
you high?
No. Type in dictator tied to horse or something like that.
No, this is not working. We have Master of the Horse on Wikipedia.
All right, I'm sorry. Anyway.
Okay, I guess we'll go on. Oh, but I should ask you, Gab, who's your favorite dictator?
I'm not really like super well versed on dictators, but I would say if I had to choose one that I would like to learn about, it would probably be I don't know. I'm stalling. I'm not sure. I don't know a lot about dictators. But the
Okay.
one that we tied to a horse is the one I'd like to know more about.
Yeah, he's one of your top 3 most interesting
Actually,
dictators.
who's the guy whose body is just his dead body is just on display in Russia?
Are you talking about Lenin?
Yes.
Okay.
I actually recently, because somebody on 90 Day Fiance, I'm so sorry, went to Russia and was like, yeah, I saw Lenin's body. And I was like, that's still out there. And by God, it is. They just have him. They like once a month, they like re-formaldehyde him and he's just on display and you can go and see this guy's dead body. He died in like the 30s.
Now I have
Look
to
it up.
confirm that. I don't like I know I believe you about him being on display, but just when he died, I guess. Died in 1924.
Oh my God, even older.
This is not what this podcast is about, man.
Yeah, I'd like to know more about Lenin, specifically about how they keep his body intact, but also just in general. I don't know much about him, but I mean, imagine being so important that your dead body is on display for people to go see.
And how did he have time to create all those songs and be a Russian dictator?
I know.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's even a spot in Central Park dedicated to him.
He said, "Da, strawberry fields forever." Okay. Last comment on a Christmas Horror Story from Scotty. It's funny that this film stars William Shatner because changelings appear in Star Trek. In Star Trek, they are these shape-shifting aliens that have gooey-like forms when they're not impersonating characters. They were introduced in Deep Space Nine, which was after Shatner's tenure on Star Trek, but have been a... You got to spell check this shit for me, Scotty. You're killing me here. You're killing me. I have enough trouble on my own reading these emails. But have been a persistent threat throughout Star Trek since. The changelings were the main antagonistic force in Star Trek Picard Season 3. There's also a Star Trek original series Shatner show episode titled The Changeling, but that episode involves a life-destroying AI probe. I was totally about to read AI probe as Al probe.
Anal
Not...
prolapse.
What?
Sorry, I don't know.
What?
Al probe made
there.
me think of anal prolapse. I'm sorry.
On a side note, were either of you aware of the social media buzz about William Shatner dying? Then
Yes.
Shatner took to social media to confirm he was alive. I know about that because my mother thought he might have actually died because she saw those posts, and then I had to check to find out he was alive. She did see Shatner's post confirming he was alive shortly after. I had no idea of any of this.
I have asked multiple times on this podcast if he is dead or alive.
You have. There was
also, remember when it happened to Kel from Keenan and Kel?
Yes. There was a time a couple days ago actually where I guess I'll call him my cousin-in-law, which feels weird to say, but my cousin, he posted on Instagram a meme where it was like talking about RuPaul being dead, and I immediately was like, I gotta go to Twitter. I gotta check this shit out. I gotta go to Google. Is RuPaul dead? Like, I don't know why. It was very affecting to me for a moment. Like, I was like, oh no. But RuPaul is alive.
Side note, another Carter bites the dust.
What?
Aaron and Nick's oldest sister, Bobby Jean, something like that, died.
Oh, that's very sad.
I know. These Carters, man, they're falling like dominoes.
You describe it so callously. You're a monster.
I'm just saying. It's happening. Somebody else important just died. Who was it? Oh, the captain from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah, Andre Braugher.
Yeah.
Very good actor. You ever see
Very
Glory?
good actor. Yeah, of course.
He's fantastic in that.
He is. He's fantastic in everything. He's great in fucking Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I've never seen that show.
What?
Never seen it.
Why?
It never caught my interest.
Didn't you just send me an Andy Samberg gif like yesterday?
I can send gifs of anything.
I suppose, but oh my God, you have to watch it. It's so funny.
Also, that gif you're talking about, because I just remembered the Cool Beans thing, that's from Hot Rod.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Andy Samberg is great. All right. Anyway.
All right. We have another email from Dylan Pellick.
Jesus Christ.
Subject: the moment of truth. Hi, Dylan and Gab. You were in noticing that I am an AI, and so was my friend Max from last week. However, you were wrong in naming the puppeteer behind the AI messages. Here's a video clip identifying the real culprit behind the AI messages. I had to use a video clip to be extra dramatic. I hope you're well versed in the art of misdirection. Warm regards, Dylan.
I feel like this is not going to be funny. Sorry, no offense.
I mean, none taken to me. I didn't make it. Let me know if you can hear this.
Yeah.
It's the last scene from Saw. Scotty Cameron's the dead body on the ground. I am the last guy alive holding up the tape recorder.
Hello, Mr. Hindle. Or as they called you around the hospital. Zap. I want you to make a choice.
What is happening here?
Coursing through your system, which only I have the antidote for. Will you murder a mother and her child to save yourself?
All the Saw stuff only makes it feel more like it's Scotty Cameron, but I know it's not.
Listen carefully.
Scotty Cameron.
Scotty Cameron, damn you.
I don't get this. Oh my god, how much longer is this?
I'm gonna feel weak. Should I fast forward?
I mean, the thing is, nobody listening can hear this.
No, they cannot. But the reveal is coming that I guess it's James from our Alien episode is the true culprit behind the AI messages.
That makes sense. He was talking about Saw, right?
I guess. But I know Scotty is the main Saw fanatic.
Well, he said the art of misdirection. Ew, what the fuck? He's peeling off a mask or his flesh?
Clearly, you've never seen the first Saw movie. It's like it's a bald cap to make it look like he was dead. Well, this is also, if you've never seen Saw, this has ruined that movie for you.
Don't worry, I'm not planning on seeing it.
The first one's great. Okay, James. Not cool, man. You wasted 2 full minutes of our time with that.
Thanks, James.
All right, Gab, I did all the screen sharing for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Get to our verdicts for Christmas Vacation, finally.
Finally.
Do or do not. There is no try.
The guilty will be punished.
Sentence is death.
Gab, obviously this was your movie. Give your verdict first.
I love this movie. This is my favorite Christmas movie. I don't really like the sappy, emotional Christmas movies. I don't love the like world peace and like the, an angel gets its wings every time shut the fuck up. I want to see families in misery. I want to see people fighting for their lives. I want to see Aunt Bethany stay in the Pledge of Allegiance over dinner. I love this movie. It is hilarious. It is relatable. Families are crazy. And I love it. And I would watch it in the middle of July.
I liked this one significantly better than the first one. I definitely think it's funnier. I definitely think it's sweeter. I would recommend it to somebody if they've never seen it before. But it's still fine. I still don't think I would call it a movie to watch before you die.
Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Gab.
You stupid fucking... I'm going to Clark Griswold rant on you. Play the rant right here because what kind of heartless, hopeless, sack of shit, piece of fucking human garbage doesn't love this movie?
I liked it. It was okay. It was a little funny. It was funnier than the first one. I'm so sorry.
I cannot believe you. You have to be joking.
I'm not. This is the most disappointed I've made somebody since I was on the phone with Zach yesterday, and he was like, I got you a Christmas present. And I went, it's not a very expensive pen like you were talking about, because I always carry pens. And he was like, oh no. And then he went, well, at least you didn't guess the coolest part. And I went, it's not a Batman pen, is it? And he went, he just hung up on me. I was like, oh no.
Don't distract me from where I am right now. Dylan, so hold on a second, because I just want to, there are 2 things that are coming to mind right now. Number 1, that fucking Santa zombie movie you think was better than Christmas Vacation?
Oh, God. I will continue to watch Christmas Horror Story for years to come. But
Okay.
I probably won't go back to Christmas Vacation.
And Matilda?
I love Matilda.
Are you on fucking drugs?
Are you? Gab, I think we're both probably being heavily dictated by our nostalgia here.
No.
But
no.
Matilda is a childhood classic.
Okay, this is an adulthood classic. This is classic every year, all year.
Is it?
Yes.
It's fine. It's a little funny.
I'm infuriated. I don't want to do this anymore.
I knew this was going to disappoint you, so I was like, I can't just come at the gate and be like, it was okay. So I was like, well, let me go along with the things I did like.
You can't come out of the gate and say it's okay because it's more than okay. You are wrong.
It's more than okay, but that doesn't make it a movie to watch before you die in my book.
I am going to dismantle every movie you've ever loved.
You already
now
have,
until
Gab.
the end
You
of
already
time.
have.
I don't want to listen. Fuck you.
I guess it's probably good that next week it's not either of our pick. It's a guess.
Yeah.
Gab's gonna take out her vengeance on like a fucking stranger.
No, it's not the stranger's fault. But the first thing I am going to say is, hi, nice to meet you. My name is Gab. Welcome to the show. Do you like Christmas Vacation? And if so, we can continue. If not, I'm out. Have fun.
Okay.
You
I'm
are
sorry.
heartless, and I feel sorry for your future children.
Wow.
I do.
It's solid.
It's solid. Does Giselle like this movie?
I don't know if she's ever seen it. I know she's just not that big. She doesn't find Chevy Chase very funny.
Okay.
I think that's the problem. Like, I don't think I find Chevy Chase that funny either. So
but you didn't think that rant was like amazing?
the rant is good. The rant is very good. But I think, like I said, my favorite character is Aunt Bethany, who comes into the movie like 2/3 of the way through.
Okay, so the only movies you like are when your favorite characters are there from the beginning. If they're not in the first scene, it's not a movie to watch before you die.
Exactly.
Okay.
No, I feel like you're going to use that against me so hard.
I am. Oh, I am. I'm taking notes, baby.
The main character of the movie, I don't like that much.
I don't want to talk to you anymore. I need to leave.
Well,
Merry fucking Christmas.
Let's quickly get out of the way. If you want to send us an email, you can send an email to Gab. I really say where they can send an email.
Movies to watch before you die at gmail.com. Or I guess movies that are pretty good and solid, but not one to watch before you die in my book at gmail.com / fuck yourself. There's no slash in an email.
There's no slash in an email. You can send us a voice note at anchor.fm/movies to watch. You can find our podcasting friends from the Hall of Pods network in the link tree below, and you can find all of our links in the link tree below.
I'm going to start talking about you the way people talk about Chevy Chase.
Oh my God.
I'm going to start the rumor mill.
What the fuck? Wait,
it's happening. Yes.
Unfounded rumors? You're this diehard defending Chevy Chase that I have to go down for him?
No, I'm not defending Chevy Chase. I'm defending this movie. Now, if Harold Ramis directed it, you'd have liked it?
I don't know. How can I know that?
I'm just trying everything I have.
Okay.
You
know who else I think is overrated? Bill Murray. I think he's fine.
I think Brian Doyle-Murray is the better Murray.
You know what? I like Brian Doyle-Murray better too.
Okay. He's the Flying Dutchman. But listen, that's not what this is about. You're a fucking psychopath.
I'm the Flying Dutchman.
He's great. He's the best Murray.
Gab is so heated. I'm over here
right?
like, I'm the Dutchman.
Yeah, you're killing me. There's a third Murray, is there not?
Yes. There's a third Murray who also does act, but I can't remember his name.
Why do you think he went with Doyle?
Murray. Maybe just to stand out more from just Bill, like because they're both B.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm really upset with you. I'm really genuinely upset. And you know what? I watched this movie at a time when Corey couldn't be home, and I thought to myself, you know what? We're gonna watch this on Christmas because it is just such a great fucking movie, and I'm gonna watch it with such fucking venom for you because you don't appreciate a good comedy. You know why? Because you're not very funny.
God damn. Okay. Are you not watching Over the Garden Wall now on Christmas?
No, we're gonna watch both, Dylan. There's 24 hours in a day.
Okay. God damn. Gab really stands Chevy Chase and Jeremiah S. Chechik.
I just really love this movie. I just it felt like such a home run. Like it's objectively good. It's objectively funny.
It's a solid double.
Okay, and sometimes doubles win games, you bastard.
Well, yes, Gab, hypothetically, if there was already a man on second base, yes, a double would win the game in the extra innings. What are you talking about, Gab?
I need to know what you're talking about.
You said sometimes doubles win games. Yeah.
Yeah, well, not in this instance, I guess. But no, by all means, let's watch the fucking zombie movie with the Christmas cunt. That was great.
I loved it.
This is ridiculous. This is insane. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Wow, this feels like your Batman Mask of the Phantasm moment.
No, because you knew I was going to hate that movie.
I didn't know that. Maybe you would have liked it.
No, what? Why on earth would I have liked that?
Because you always talked about how you like Michael Keaton Batman.
Okay, I do. I like Michael Keaton. I didn't fucking care about the cartoon Batman.
It's great.
All right, this has gone on for too long. Stop. Nobody is listening anymore.
No.
All right. So anyway, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
I'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure I'll talk to you tomorrow also.
Okay.
All right. Have a great rest of your day. Listen, I love you.
Have a great rest of your life.
Good luck with your life.
Go fuck yourself.
I just listen, that was really hurtful what you did. And you know what you did.
Yes, but I kept the ride going as long as I could. I made sure not to hurt you to the very end.
Yeah, that's fucked up, okay?
It felt like I was putting you down, but I was like, I have to give her a nice day first.
Because I don't ever do that to you. I make it very clear from the jump.
I know, and I almost wish you would do the opposite. Didn't this feel nice? Didn't it feel nice during it, Gab? When
yes,
we were just talking about the good things.
Yes. So what are the bad things?
Can't people have good movies? Can't you make good movies, Gab?
Things? Tell me the bad things.
Generally not that funny. I spent much more time sitting there with a blank, expressionless face than I did laughing. This is the same as, I can't remember what movie it was, but you said to me, you're like, I laughed out loud. Like, I had a big laugh out loud moment at this. And then I was like, oh, that's great. You had a big laugh out loud moment. At the very end, you were like, but I told you at the beginning, that was the only moment I laughed at. And I was like, oh, there's the twist. I'll go fuck myself then.
I think it was the Jack Black movie, the college movie. Watch your fingers.
Oh, Orange County.
Orange County,
yes.
Yeah. I just you really need to stop doing that to me because it just it really upsets me.
Okay.
I don't respond well to the bait and switch.
You would prefer me to just immediately be like, this movie's okay.
I just want you to be honest. In opinion time,
honest.
don't only share the opinions that are going to lead me to believe that you liked it. You have to share all of your opinions. I even said there were 2 scenes in this movie that I didn't think needed to be there.
I said also that there were scenes that I didn't think needed to be there.
Barely.
Okay.
Anyway, listen. I mean, I'm shocked. I'm truly I'm coming down from the hurt and the anger, but I am still shocked.
She's come to acceptance.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Well,
I get why people do watch it on Christmas and why I get why people love it. You know what I mean? I get this movie much more than I get The First Vacation.
Yeah. Okay.
You said the whole time that you were like, oh, this is way better than Vacation. And you know what? 100% true.
It is. It is.
I do think it's interesting too, because it's not really connected in any way that you have to see The First Vacation to see this movie.
No. You know what? I'm going to make you watch the other 2 Vacations just because.
If you do that, Gab, I'm going to make you watch Christmas Vacation 2, Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure.
And you know what? I bet I'll love it.
Oh, God.
I bet I would love it. Not now. When you least expect it. I'm going to be like Vegas Vacation. Fuck. Nick Papagiorgio. Let's go.
I don't even know what that means.
I know you don't because you've never seen it.
I have thought about at some point being like, I'm taking over a month to just do Rocky movies.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, Gab.
All right. Well, anyway. Okay. This has been great. We told them where to find us. And listen, I'm not mad at you, but you have to stop, okay?
I'm not going to stop.
Okay, fine. All right.
All the opinions I expressed during this were true.
Yeah. No animals were hurt in the making of this episode.
Except
Sally
that cat.
is just not here. Yeah, except for that cat.
Wait, where the fuck is Sally?
I know. She's been with Corey. He's in the other room.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well. All right. I love you.
Love you.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, peeps. Have a jolly
leaving?
Christmas, you Christmas cunts.
Yeah. Merry fucking Christmas.
Is your house on fire, Claude?
No, Bethany, those are Christmas lights.
Don't throw me down, Claude.
I'll try not to, Aunt Bethany.
Is this the airport, Claude?
We're here!